Football Cosplay. Today I'm going to be showing you how I created my Jibaro Siren cosplay out of thrifted materials in under 2 weeks for Superhero Saturday 2023. Superhero Saturday is an amazing free non-profit charity event hosted by the Phoenix Police Sergeants and Lieutenants Association and Child Help to help child victims of crime. So let's get started. So for my Jibaro Siren, I've basically got a bit of a base for it. I have this gold bodysuit which I got on Amazon, and then I thrifted a lot of things. So the same trip where I got the jewelry for the headdress, I got this dress, and what I plan on doing is taking this off, and then I want to put it on the front of kind of the underwear part, and then I need to remove all of this chiffon kind of fabric off of the front of it, and then I'm gonna tailor it kind of into a leotard type thing, so that way it's kind of like the corset top she has. And the nice thing about it is it's elastic up here, so it will stay on and it'd zip up, because otherwise I would have had to make a corset out of something that was literally lining fabric, which probably wouldn't go too well. And then for the rest of this, I found at Goodwill. First of all, I'm just gonna start with this belly dancer's top, which I just cannot believe I found. I mean, just wow, that was definitely a score. That saves me a lot of time in terms of making something, because what I was originally going to do is I was going to take this kid's Gap dress, you know? That's the thing, if you ever need sparkly fabric, you know, go to the kids section. But, anywho, what I was originally planning on doing is taking off the sleeves and then turning it into, like, a crop top, and then since it's, sequin and it's plastic, basically, I could spray paint it gold. But thank God I found this! So, anywho, I'm going to take this dress. What this dress is going to be used for is I'm going to split both of these. I'm going to split it into two pieces, so that way you have the front and the back pieces, and I'm going to separate them. And then what I'm going to do with this piece is I'm going to wrap it around the dress, which I showed you earlier. Once it's turned into a bodysuit, I'm going to sew or glue these pieces onto it, and then I'm going to paint it with acrylic paint. I might acrylic paint it first, but that way I have the glittery part. And then for the back of this, I'm going to take it and I'm going to split it into, again, I'm going to fold it in half like this, and then I'm going to trace it out onto a pair of underwear, and then I'm going to sew it onto it over it, and then I might paint it a little bit since there's some red. I don't want it to look like a menstrual blood, but anywho, I'm going to take that and then I'm going to sew the little crystallized thing on the front of that dress onto it, which I think will look really good. Then for the pillow, what I'm basically going to do is I'm going to split it in half since it's just two pieces, and then I'm going to wrap it around my arm and turn it into kind of an armband. I'm going to try to taper it off at the top in kind of a triangle shape, and that way it makes a little bit of a glove, because I know the character kind of has that. And then for this dress, this is where the most time-consuming part of the project is going to take place. Unfortunately, it's not 100% sequins, and I needed something for the legs of the character. I need something like gold leggings or like shiny, like, and it had to be like sequin too. So what I've decided to do is I'm going to cut out each of these pieces, and since it's sequin fabric, it should hold pretty well. What I'm going to do is I'm going to place it onto the leg part, onto the legs of the bodysuit, the original gold spandex one that I got on Amazon. And I'm going to basically applique style sew them onto the legs, which this I have to be very careful with, because if I put it, I have to make sure I don't put it on any parts that are major stress areas, like if I were to put it on my knee or something, you know, where the fabric has to really bend and stretch, because this is not stretchy fabric, and if I do put it on too much of a high stress area, it will rip, obviously, so I have to be careful with that, and that's also going to take a while because it's hand sewing, but I only really have to do it on my thighs and then my calves a little bit, but thankfully I don't have too much to cover. It's just I have to make sure I don't put it on anywhere where the fabric could rip, essentially. Then for this makeup bag, essentially what I might do with this is I'm going to cut it into two pieces and then make it into an arm cuff, and then I can sew some of the beads onto it from there. And I also have this little bit, which I might be able to put maybe on the shoes or maybe something else. So a little bit of a dilemma I ran into when it comes to this, taking it off and putting it on something else. I can't remove it without damaging the whole dress, basically. It's literally sewn into, like, yeah, you can literally see it just right around here. being sewn in there. So I would have had to basically dismantle the entire dress to be able to use this. So I might just have to keep it the way it is. Okay, so I've been thinking about this some more, and I think I figured out what I am gonna do. I am just gonna go ahead and cut out this part of the dress, even though I know it's gonna leave just a hole, but it won't destroy the construction of the dress. And then I'm gonna use the exact same gold fabric. I don't know if you can see it. That's in the middle on the cuffs and on the mantle of my Granditch Sophia cosplay. And then I'm just gonna fill it in because you're not gonna be able to see it. Okay, I just realized you can attach it. Bruh. Okay, thank God I did that because I only cut out like a little bit of that. I might still have to cut out parts of it because I'm concerned that it might rip, but I thank God that this is a separate applique and it's not a part of the dress, so I can take it off with minimal damage to the dress. So we were able to do it with minimal damage. Unfortunately, a little bit of it did peel up as I was sewing it because this part was attached to the dress, and some of it I did need to cut out, but it's again very minimal for what we were able to do. So I've gotten all the sequin pieces cut out, that way I can sew them or glue them onto the dress. I just need to paint them basically. I need to paint them kind of a copper and a kind of lime blue, like kind of a light blue. So I've painted all the corset pieces of the pink dress and I just need to let it dry. So this is kind of the leotard bodysuit. What I've done is I've cut it down on the sides and then I did the same on the back. And then what I've done is I just take a little bit of elastic at the bottom. You're not going to see this since it's going to be covered, but I was able to do that. I'm going to need to get some straps because it does kind of fall down a little bit now. And of course I need to cover this up. I've also have this. I've already got the underwear basically done, but I didn't really film that as it's a little TMI. So what I might have to do is I'm going to attach this actually to the bottom front of this dress, and that way it kind of overlaps because the underwear I kind of cut are pretty low in the front, so if it's too low it might look a little bit weird. So I'm just going to have that placed probably on this, or it might even kind of overlap onto the underwear swimsuit bottoms kind of thing. Okay, so this is what the underwear kind of overlay with the bodysuit. It's not completely dried yet because I painted the sequins. They look overlaid, kind of how I'm thinking about it. I have been really concerned about when painting the underwear bits because I don't want to make it the wrong color and I don't want it to be blotchy. Once the gloves were constructed, I decorated them with the many blue gems I had left over, and then I glued some elastic around the tops to wrap around my finger. I used some thrifted belts around the wrist and I decorated them with gems to make the cuffs. Decorating was definitely one of the best parts of the costume. As you can see now, I'm painting over the gold with the yellow. I know this might look crazy considering that the gold that I had originally painted it looks really screen accurate. However, when compared to the bodysuit, it looked way too subdued. The silver pieces on the front where the boning is from one of the dresses I had gotten for the costume. I cut and applied each one by hand using glue, and it took me about 3 hours. The underwear are not sewn to the bodice, they're actually just safety pinned on the sides to make it easier to take on and off. While I decorate the bodice, I want to talk to you about the beads that I used for the arms and the back. These were beads I've had since childhood and I lightly painted them. And then when I felt like I needed more but didn't have time to string them all individually, I got necklaces that were very long and then unhooked them and connected them to rubber bands. I connected them to rubber bands so that way I could put bracelets on them and not worry about the bracelets snapping. I recreated the unique gems she has on the front of her bodice using some embroidery thread and 2 gems. So as I mentioned before, I decided to glue them. However, if I plan to wear this costume in the water again, I'll have to sew them because after my photo shoot, they all came off. The leg cuffs are made out of some of the belts I had got, and I just wrapped them around my leg and then glued the crystals to them as you saw. I thrifted the shoes and then spray painted them using gold spray paint.
Play as the Siren / the Golden Woman from Jibaro, Love, Death, and Robots. I'll tell you what, I have watched this cosplayer over the last couple of years, and the costumes that they put together, Romanoff Ball, you guys. Give it up for her in the Masters category!
I had so much fun at Superhero Saturday, and I was so moved to see the community come together for such an amazing cause.
Oh, queen.
And also I got Best in Show. Thank you so much to all these amazing people and such an amazing event.